This is a question under the topic of differentiation. To solve this question, you will need to understand the product rule. Some prerequisites would be you need to be familiar with the chain rule as well. Okay, so let's say we have an equation like that: 4 times x minus 2 cubed. Okay, versus x times x minus 2 cubed. We have two terms for each situation, right? Situation 1, we have 4 times this. Okay, situation 2, we have x instead of 4. So we don't use product rule for situation 1 because one of the terms is a constant, right? If it's a constant, then straight away you can just apply chain rule, which would be you multiply by the power, then you subtract the power by 1, and then you multiply by the differentiation of the term inside, right? So the answer is just 12 times x minus 2 squared. Okay, only if you have if both terms involve x, would you then apply product rule. Okay, so this is just to help you identify which situations to apply this. Okay, so how do you actually apply product rule? Okay, let's say we have okay, this as an example, 2x minus 3 times uh, 2x cubed minus 4 square. Okay, okay, let's not use the square first. Okay, if you want to differentiate this, let's look at this as, let's call this term A and let's call this term B. Okay, we will want to differentiate A first, dA dx. Okay, this represents what you get when you differentiate A. Okay, and then you multiply that by B, right? And then you add that to the differential of B, and then you multiply by A. Okay, B and A is just the original terms, right? You leave them as it is. Okay, and yep, this will be what you get when you differentiate Y. Okay, so let's try this. If you differentiate A, right, you will get just 2, right? Because you differentiate 2x is 2, you differentiate negative 3, that's 0. Okay, so these are dA dx. Then you multiply by B, which is 2x cubed minus 4. And then you add it to the differential of B. So if you differentiate B, you bring down the power of 3 and you multiply by 2. 6x squared, right? Because you subtract 1 from the power. So this is dB dx, right? And then you just copy down whatever you have for A, 2x minus 3, the original term. Okay, and this will be okay, you can just simplify it. You factorize what you can, right? You can factorize out 2 from both sides. And then you have 2x cubed minus 4 inside plus 3x squared times 2x minus 3. Let's see, yeah, you can actually further simplify from here. Just simplify whatever's in here. Okay, so you will have 2x cubed minus 4 plus 6x cubed minus 9x squared, which will be 8x cubed minus 9x squared minus 4. Okay, this will be the final answer. Okay, so let's apply that to the question here. Okay, we have y equals to 3x times square root of 4 minus 7x cubed. Okay, let's change the square root to index form. So we have 4 minus 7x cubed to the power of half. This is our a term, this is our b term, right? So when we differentiate y with respect to x, we will get the differential of a, which is 3, times b, which is just 4 minus 7x cubed to the power of half. And then we add this to the differential of b. Remember, you got to bring down the power. Okay, remember your chain rule, right? This one has a power, so it involves the application of chain rule. Half times 4 minus 7x cubed, and then you subtract 1 from half, right? You get negative half. And don't forget, you have to differentiate this and multiply it to the term. So you have negative 21x squared. Okay, and then you multiply a as well, which is times 3x. Okay, now we have to simplify this whole chunk, right? This one, 3 times 4 minus 7x cubed, the power of half, plus, I'm going to multiply all these terms. Half times negative 21x squared times 3x, which will be negative 63x cubed over 2 times 4 minus 7x cubed to the power of negative half. Okay, so now we have to simplify our expression. Okay, to simplify your expression, right? Okay, look at the each term and then factorize out the smallest. The factorizing part might be a little confusing, so let me give some examples to go more in depth. Let's start with a basic example. So it's like 2a plus ba, right? In this case, you want to factorize out a. Then, okay, 2a divided by a is just 2, ba divided by a is just b. This is like one of the most standard ways of factorizing, right? Okay, what if we have like 2/3 a plus ba? Okay, now we normally, when we look at the denominator, right, we want to try to factorize that out because we don't want a fraction inside the brackets. Okay, so we can factorize out 1/3. Why? Because when you take 2/3 a divided by 1/3, it has the effect of multiplying by 3. right? So the 3 cancels out and then you just have 2a here. So it gets rid of the denominator, okay? So we'll factorize out 1/3 a in this case. So 2/3 a becomes 2 because you multiply by 3 and then you factorize out the a, okay? And then ba, when you factorize out 1/3, it now becomes 3b, right? The a is factorized out, okay? And what if you have like 2/3 a to the power of 2 plus ba to the power of -3, for example, okay? Now the a's have power, right? You can still factorize it out, but which one do you choose? Do you choose a squared or do you choose a to the power -3? We will go for the smaller power. Okay, so from here I will factorize out 1/3 once again to get rid of the fraction. And then I will factorize out a to the power -3. So inside my brackets, the 2/3 you'll multiply by 3, so it'll just be 2. And then a squared, when you divide by a to the power -3, remember your indices is just subtracting the powers. Right? If the base is the same and then you divide, you are subtracting the powers. Okay. Then ba to the power -3, when you divide by 1/3, it will become 3b. A to the power -3, you divide by a to the power -3, it will just be 1, right? Okay. Then you have 1/3. The a to the power -3, you can change it to a fraction. Then you will have 2a to the power of 5 here, plus 3b times 1 is just 3b. Okay. Make this clearer. Right, and let's just multiply everything together. This one I will change to a fraction. So the numerator times 1 and 1 will just be 2a to the power of 5 plus 3b over 3a cubed. Okay, let's go back to the question. So for example, you see I have a fraction here, right? 63x cubed over 2. Okay, so we would usually factorize out half to get rid of the denominator. We want to get rid of fractions. Okay, so we will factorize out half. And between 3 and 63, right, you can see that the common factor is 3. So you factorize out 3 as well. Okay, and if you look at these two terms, 4 minus 7x cubed to the power of half and 4 minus 7x cubed to the power of negative half, right? In situations like that, you look at the powers and you factorize out the smallest one. So it will be 4 minus 7x cubed to the power of negative half. Okay, factorize out the smallest power. Okay, then we write the terms in the brackets. So, okay, this is, remember how factorization works, right? I'm just simply doing this, right? I'm factorizing out 2 and b. Then 2ab divided by 2b is just a, right? 4bx divided by 2b is just 2x. Okay, this is essentially what I'm doing here, right? So if I take 3 divided by half, okay, yeah, 3 divided by half, I'm essentially multiplying by 2, right? Because 3 times 2 over 1, I got to flip the fraction, right? So I get 6. Okay, so 3 divided by half is 6, then I divide by 3 is 2, right? And then 4 minus 7x cubed to the power of half. If I factorize out 4 minus 7x cubed to the power of negative half, I am subtracting the powers, right? So it's minus negative half. Remember, when you divide, you have to subtract the powers. Okay, so this will just become 4 minus 7x cubed to the power of 1. Okay, so I'll just write that in there. 4 minus 7x cubed. Okay, and then for negative 63x cubed over 2, you factorize out 2, it'll be 63x cubed. And then you factorize out 3, it'll be 21x cubed. Right, so you write 21x cubed here. And then 4 minus 7x cubed to the power of negative half, you divide by itself. It becomes 1. Okay, so yeah, that's what you have. And then you simplify from there. Okay, the 3 goes into the numerator when you multiply. And then you have 4 minus 7x cubed to the power of negative half here. Let's simplify the large brackets. You have 8 minus 14x cubed minus 21x cubed. Okay, I can change the second term, 4 minus 7x cubed to the power of negative half to a fraction. Okay, and then in these brackets it will be 8 minus 35x cubed, right? Since I'm multiplying two fractions, right, let's just put it over 1. Okay, so in the end your numerator will become 24 minus 105x cubed over 2, and then I'll just change that to third form or radical form, which is the square root of 4 minus 7x cubed, and this will be your final answer.